What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another Thor Media podcast. I'm your host, Sock from Detailing Made Simple. And today, I have something special for you all. So for this week's podcast, it will be a lot shorter than I typically do. It'll be between maybe 7-10 minutes, maybe a little bit more. And the only reason for that is this will be an intro of what to expect for season 2 on the House of Rags and what I decided to do here on the House of Rags to get more engagement. And all of you all have fun, comment down below. Will be more on doing a tier list on all the products that the House of Rags sells. And the reason for that was it was inspired on the tier list that I made on my personal channel, and that was just a generalization, big overview, not really in terms of, breaking them down into chemicals and categories. So, and that was an impromptu one, and that wasn't even my tier list. I didn't even add those brands on there. That was just something an individual sent. He sent his tier list, and I said, I'm gonna, fix that. So that is what I'll be doing on this podcast. And a couple things to take note of is I'm a firm believer that not every brand makes the best everything. And I myself, you see my channel, I have a mixture of everything from different brands from what I like on my channel because I think they make the best for this specific job and vice versa. And you as a DIYer or an enthusiast, if you've been detailing for a couple of years or even just a whole year, I'm sure yourself have your go-tos from different brands. And that is something what I want to gather everybody around in the House of Rags and have a discussion. Right? And if you're a DIYer that hasn't been detailing for that long, guess what? I'll be your guinea pig. I'll grab the stuff. If you like my detailing style, my efficiency, how I get my results, what I do, all this other stuff, then maybe you could follow my tier list and it will eliminate all the guesswork of trying to find the best stuff. In this way, you save money and you can make your ideal purchase right away. And also, it's not to bring any of these brands down, and there's going to be a whole bunch of brands, Maldeep, Katiba, Luminous. We're going to be putting all these brands up against each other, but we'll be grouping them in categories. And for example, will be, say, rinseless wash and pH neutral soap. I'll be grouping them together because typically a rinseless wash and a pH neutral soap, one is just you rinse off, the other one you don't. So I'll be categorizing them in groups, and if a specific brand that the House of Rags sells, say for example Maldeep doesn't have a rinseless wash but they have a soap, I will put an asterisk and still rank them in a certain tier, but that asterisk you have to take it with a grain of salt, right? Because say they make an S tier soap but they don't have a rinseless wash, then how am I going to categorize that, or where am I going to rate them? That is something to keep in mind. And yeah, so that is one part of the equation. The second thing of the equation would be as well, or another part of the equation will be cost, right? I'm a business, am I cost biased? You as a DIYer, you can be cost biased for certain chemicals as well, which is another thing that you need to keep in mind as well. But is cost basis for certain chemicals really a big deal? As a DIYer or as a professional? Possibly not. And I will tell you why. So say you grab Yum Rinseless and Pans. I'm just grabbing them because they're right here. So Yum Rinseless and Pans rinseless wash. Say a gallon of Pans rinseless wash costs $60, and this one costs $80, right? And we're talking about gallons. If you're a DIYer, 128 ounces is 1 gallon. Say you have 2 vehicles. This is if you're religious. This is if you have the biggest OCD, you're religious week by week. You have 2 vehicles, you use 4 gallons of rinseless all the time to wash your 2 vehicles every week, right? So if you have 4 gallons of water, that's 2 ounces of rinseless that you're going to need, right? Because it's 1 ounce per 2 gallons typically. Say you use that in that exact dilution ratio all the time. Guess what? You have 64 weeks of washing, and that is if you wash your car, both your cars religiously for 64 weeks straight. Does that $20 difference, is that really a huge big deal in the long scheme of things? Most likely not, right? That is something to keep in mind. But when it comes to iron removers or say compounds and polishes, maybe. But sometimes that's another thing. Is a compound and polish as a DIYer, is that really a huge cost? Is that a cost issue in the long run if you're a DIYer? Maybe, maybe not, right? So that is things that we will be talking about, and I'll be ranking them on my own. It's just your point of your decision to see if you want the same results I get, if you like my style, and stuff like that. So that is what we'll be doing as well on my channel, just because each product line have their specific gems, and they will last a couple of weeks. And the reason why they will last a couple of weeks is because I can't test all 13 rinseless washes. Say, I don't know how much the House of Rags sells, but say they have 13 rinseless washes. I can't group them all once in 1 week. What I'll do is I'll make a tier list, and I'll just use, say, 2, 1/2 on one side, 1/2 on the other, and I will rate them as such, and then just put them up there, and it'll be a week by week. And then at the end of, say, the test for the rinseless wash, you will have everything grouped in one single setting, and that is how we'll go things. Same thing if you guys want to see rinseless sponges, right? I don't know if they sell this one. I got this from McKee's, but I know McKee's sells a couple stuff on the House of Rags. So say you want me to do a rinseless sponge battle between, say, DIY Detail Iconic, McKee's, Nemesis V2, and the DIY Detail Legacy. I'm happy to do that because their cuts and slits, the density, the aeration of each sponge, they're all different, right? The softness, the plushness. So that is another thing that we can do as well. And that, I'm sure, will probably be done easily on one test and one video. So that's where I'll be ranking stuff. And hopefully I get all the engagement with you all. And as I said, Titan Tim will be a frequent guest. This is my tier list. This will be done respectfully and hopefully encourage more competition and have less guesswork for you all. And hopefully you all can comment down below of just say, hey, I agree with this, I don't agree with this, why didn't you agree with this? And that's it. Now, in terms of excluding parts of the test, will be, say, I'll be excluding scents. Scents are very subjective, right? We want to be objective of what's happening on the paint, but sometimes people buy products based on scent, right? And that's, again, that is your money, do what you want, but objectively what I want to be testing is how does it react on the paint? Of course, scent for me, I will still say whether it smells good because it smells good to me. But in terms of how it reacts on the paint, say example, Incredible Suds, right? The cling power, and then say soft wash, it'll be one of those things of I'm going to objectively just take a look on how it reacts on the paint, the cling, the snow foam, the cleaning power, the rinse off, right? Some things are have different attributes, and same thing with slickness. So that is what we'll be doing, that on even consistency, right? How easy it is to mix. So these are stuff that will be, will be done, but I will be excluding scents for that specific reason. Another thing I'll be excluding, and this is again because it's very subjective, will be tire shine or tire, well, when I mean tire shine, I mean the sheen of the tire dressing that you're applying, right? So some people like the glazed donut look, some people like the super matte look, some people like the satin look, some people like the in-between satin and the glazed donut look, right? That deep rich. So that is what I will be excluding as well. The only thing objectively that we'll be looking at is more in terms of durability. And yes, so I think I've summed up everything for this. And if I haven't, I will still go on and do that stuff and explain it more in detail. But hopefully you all enjoyed this Thor Media podcast. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. My job is I want to be as transparent with you all and show you my detailing experience. And as I said, if you like my detailing style, the way I get my results and all this other stuff, then I think this tier list will be beneficial for you all to make your purchases. And yeah. And if you like this type of content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you all on the next one. Oh, one last thing I forgot to mention is the reason why I'm categorizing them as well is because some brands don't sell everything from A through Z, right? Nobody sells a shampoo and alkaline soap and stuff like that. For example, Chemex doesn't make any polishes, so it's good to keep them fair and say, hey, maybe Chemex really does make the best shampoos in the world, right? So that is the reasoning for this. So that's just an example I forgot to throw in. But yeah, so if you like this type of content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I'm happy to see you all tuning in on the week-to-week basis to see this tier list. I will see you all on the next one. Peace.